Hi, my name is Craig Cunningham, and I'm a residential real estate agent here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I'm doing a series of videos to talk about the real estate market in Santa Fe and also the types of architecture that we have here in the city different. Santa Fe, in terms of its architecture, is like no other place in North America. It feels like you could be in the mountains of colonial Mexico, and that's all because of a couple of specific styles of architecture that are very popular here. One is called Pueblo Revival, and one is called Territorial. But how did Santa Fe get to look like the way it does now, with these dramatic styles of architecture perched on hillsides and throughout the city and the mountains? Well, actually, at the beginning of the 20th century, Santa Fe had a bunch of different architectural styles. There was French Empire, Victorian, a lot of Frank Lloyd Wright style. So everything was a little bit all over the map. But there had always been the style that between the Native Americans and the Spanish colonists, using stucco, adobe, flat roofs, and a lot of beautiful woodwork. And starting in the 1920s, there was a movement in Santa Fe to make this really the official architectural style of the city. And there was a famous architect named John Gawes Beams who really promoted this. And so more and more, this architecture was adopted in Santa Fe, and it was also done as a way to attract more tourists. And so you see a lot of beautiful buildings downtown in the Pueblo Revival style, such as the famous Hotel La Fonda on the Plaza. You'll see Territorial style, which is more squared off and with brick coping up at the top and white columns, and then a little bit of in between and a variety of different colors, but mostly earth tones for everything. Now, today we're going to take a look around actually my house, and I'll show you some of the elements of this, and you'll get a sense for the very unique style of architecture that we have here in the city different. So one of the most interesting elements about the Spanish colonial style here in northern New Mexico are what we call the vigas. The vigas were built into homes starting, I think, in the 18th century and maybe even before, and they were both supporting beams and also an architectural element. So when you see up here, you'll see that they are weathered. In our house, we've actually stained them a different color. Often they are in more of a blonder wood, but it's wood right from the native area. And a lot of times when I'm selling real estate, buyers will be concerned. It's like, oh, there are cracks in them. Is there anything wrong? It's like, no, that's just weathered wood, and they're supposed to look that way. But it's a really important part of our style. In our house here, we have the cove ceilings, which is also part of that style, but you'll also see the vigas in different, just flat ceiling as well. So another part of the Spanish colonial style that we have here in Santa Fe that's prevalent are little seating areas called bancos. Now, in other parts of the country, they're called banquettes or window seating areas, but they're very prevalent in houses here and really capture a lot of the use of the plaster and stucco and other materials. And as you can see here, we've just softened ours up a little bit with some cushioned seating. Another important element of homes here in northern New Mexico are the fireplaces. It gets cold here in the winter, and we love our fires, a lot of times with beautiful pinyon wood, which makes the house smell so fragrant and uniquely northern New Mexican. In this case, this is not an actual true kiva, because a traditional kiva fireplace would have more of a cone shape, and then you would do the wood building up sort of teepee style. But this does sort of give you a little bit of the sense of it in terms of the way that this works up here. And then the other reason I wanted to show this is because this is another part of the Spanish colonial style, which are called nichos. And nichos would be areas where you put different decorative items. Sometimes you would put the family Bible, you might put religious icons, candles, all sorts of things like that. And you'll often see them in a lot of the really older homes here in Santa Fe, but they're also popular even with new construction today. So another important element of the Spanish colonial style in northern New Mexican homes is the tile work, and a lot of beautiful tile work that has been done for centuries here, intricate in a lot of ways. In our guest bathroom down here, this was one of the few places where we really didn't do much updating, and you could see some of the tile work. There's a specific style called Talavera. I'm not honestly sure if this is Talavera, but what's unique about it is you'll have little decorative accents in here in different patterns and designs. And now here we are in our backyard, and I wanted to show you again sort of an example of the Banco style outside, and also the stucco, which is the prevailing style for cladding houses here in Santa Fe. So you can see the Banco here. In the wintertime, sometimes we'll have a nice little fire pit right up here to enjoy it with some blankets and a little glass of wine. And it's a very pleasant place to while away the hours. You can see even up there another big feature. It's the turquoise big vase up there. That's actually a fountain. Fountains are a big part of northern New Mexico living. We are in the high desert, but it's nice to have the sound of flowing water. Because it's winter right now, we don't have it turned on, but it's great during the rest of the year. So a little bit about the stucco. So the majority of the houses in Santa Fe are clad in stucco. Stucco now is a surface material that's used, but it's troweled on. But prior to stucco, real adobe was used, and you can still find it in older houses or very expensive houses. And adobe is a very labor-intensive process of creating bricks. I believe it's out of mud and straw, and you put them together and then build the house. And when you're on the historic east side, you'll see houses that were put together by generations of families made out of adobe. And we're outside at my house right now, and I wanted to point out another unique feature of northern New Mexico architecture, and that is the coyote fence. And as you can imagine, as the name implies, it is to keep coyotes out of your backyard, which keeps your dogs and other pets quite happy. And it's used throughout northern New Mexico. The wood is all sourced locally, and there are lots of fence folks who will create this for you in both tall and short fencing, but it's a very much a part of our style here. The other thing is gates. So many of the homes here, as they would be in colonial Mexico and other parts of South America and also Spain and Portugal, have fencing and walls, and you never know what's going to be behind those walls. A beautiful garden, fountains, etc. And here in the summertime, the Santa Fe Botanical Society has a great garden tour, and I think it's called Beyond Hidden Walls, and it's a marvelous thing to come and see because you see incredible homes and gardens and architecture. And one more thing I wanted to talk about today is the type of landscaping we have here in northern New Mexico. So we are in the high desert in the mountains, and so we have a lot of great trees and grasses and things like that, but we still are in the high desert. So you will see aspects of like cacti here, and also our beloved piñons. Piñons are probably our most popular tree here. We love the look of them. We love the cones that we get to decorate our houses in the fall and the winter and during the holidays. And also people will harvest the nuts from the piñon trees to roast and have as snacks. And also, as we were talking about before, the scent of the piñon wood. So this just gives you an example of the types of landscaping we have. Now, right now, of course, we're in the dead of winter, so things are not blooming, but one of the beautiful things about Santa Fe in the summertime, it's almost a Mediterranean climate. There is no humidity, and lavender grows beautifully, geraniums, roses. It's just really a riot of color, and it's just a pleasure to be here in the summertime when our highs might get up to 90, but there's no humidity, and we drop down into the 60s at night.